All right. We are recording, so that way everyone can see the replay. For those who are tuning in who don't know me, my name is Brittany Ross, and I help entrepreneurial spirits get clear on their money so they can chase their boldest dreams. And speaking of dream chasers, I have Dan and Dylan with me here today to talk about what we do to, pursue our dreams, how we cash flow our lives. And hint, it's through Amazon. So thank you guys. It has been a long time since I chatted with you last.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It's been a long minute. So we still run our Amazon business full-time over here. I can now say that we are sourcing 100% from wholesale for the first time ever. But our business kind of took a different turn than yours. I'm going to have you guys introduce yourself because our business is more of a lifestyle business, and you guys have grown quite the little empire down there in Kentucky. So tell me what's been going on.
No, we've been it's been more of the same for us. It's like, realistically, just the Amazon opportunity has presented us with a massive option, or a massive opportunity to grow an awesome and amazing business. But even though, we've done quite a bit in sales, like we've done over 25 million on Amazon at this point, we still are able to keep it pretty relatively small. Like, domestic employees, we have 2, and then we have a couple of virtual assistants that help us operate. But beyond that, it's just humming right along.
Yeah, and what it's enabled us to do. So this we can go through the whole story, or I briefly summarize it a little bit here. But when our Amazon business got started with the $600 credit card, and that was really it. And luckily, the way that you can leverage the marketplace, you can snowball the profit that you bring back, reinvest it into the business. You can actually grow it pretty quickly. You can into a large business in ways, even without taking on too much debt, that you just isn't really possible with a lot of other traditional business models and things like that. So you're right, we grew it to where we've sold over $25 million on Amazon. And then we also grew it to the point where we kind of, like, the way that I like to explain it is we don't work in the business so much. We kind of are like board of the directors kind of thing, right? We go to we have a weekly meeting, and it's about my total input. I'm almost useless most of the time. My complete amount of input is we have this weekly meeting where we meet with our team and we kind of give our thoughts and direction, and they roll their eyes at us because it's just like, we know better than you at this point, and so our business is able to continue to run at the multi-million-dollar level with that. But what it has enabled us to do is pursue the lifestyle that we like, and what Dan and I like is, well, really, we like to work a lot. So there's not a whole lot of work to be done in the Amazon business. So we've created other businesses with the financial success that it's created for us. We have a real estate business. Don't forget, we have a real estate call tonight.
Yep.
We do once a week. We do a call to get caught up on that. Yeah, we have 5 investment real estate properties right now. We add about 1 a month. We buy about a single family home every month at our current pace. I've been doing that for about half a year. We have obviously a consulting and coaching business where we teach other people how to sell on Amazon using similar business models as us. We have some other physical product ventures that have been doing really successful that we just play around with and stuff works out. We're just doing.
And we have a couple of things in the works that'll be coming out later this year. But it's literally all because of the freedom kind of afforded to us by the Amazon business and the finances. Yeah. Really, I mean, our Amazon business is kind of like financed the creation of every other income stream that we have.
Right. Yeah. We have a web services business. We just got the checks.
Yeah. We just got our quarterly checks for that
one yesterday. Yeah. It's just we enjoy just having our hands and all kinds of different stuff. And it's been really just been great experience getting to work with, and we get to work with our friends too, is what's cool. Of all the people that we get to choose who we work with and develop projects with people that we like and can trust. And it's been great.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to hear all of that, because it's been a couple years since I last talked with you guys, and you were running a team of people in a warehouse. You had Eric with you at the time. I understand he has retired at the ripe age of 40.
Yeah, 41.
41, let's be clear.
He's
let's
old.
Be clear. He is
yeah.
old. Hey, now I'm 39, so let's be nice. But I mean, we're kind of doing the same thing over here. We've got now over 8 million in sales. It's my husband and I. We've had employees, never more than 2 at a time. Some virtual assistants that have really helped us out, and now we have 1 virtual assistant and the 2 of us. And I do financial coaching and consulting now. He has pursued his original love, which was antiques and collectibles. So he's starting his own online auction company, and is he's just pursuing all that fun. I just call it junk. It's just fun to see what junk kind of floats through the house, like a cap gun machine gun.
Oh,
we
yeah.
have that in the house right now.
I think that's cool.
1950s cap gun machine gun. And then I get to pursue art, and it's because our Amazon business, we've just got it to the point where it does hum along for the most part, and it doesn't require a lot of attention. I learned from you guys a long time ago, outsource. You can't do it all. Bring people on that are smarter than you, that can help you, and get it. You don't need your hands on every single product. So it sounds like we're both kind of running these laptop lifestyle businesses now, and then using that cash to chase the things that we really want to do, which is apparently we all want to work because we're all just finding more things to work on. So when did you guys start selling on Amazon?
We started in 2011, and it's kind of an interesting story. Like we had our $600 credit card to get started, and started with a retail arbitrage where we were going into stores. And
okay, yeah, I was going to say, this audience has no idea what that means. What is retail arbitrage?
For sure. No, I can explain it better. It's whenever we started the business, it was started as a hobby. It was just a way to make a few extra dollars to, and have some fun along the way. So we started with a model called retail arbitrage, and that's where we would go into brick and mortar stores, buy products that were either on sale or sold out online, and then we would take them and sell on Amazon. And over the course of like a 6-month period, we grew that original like $600 investment, and we did over $50,000 in sales in December of 2011. And that was the month where I got fired for my job, and we actually had to start. This became my only source of income. And from there, we did retail arbitrage for a couple of years, but the problem was that, we were operating at almost $1 million level. It was like, $850,000 to $950,000 with great margins, but we were just working ourselves to death. And that's where we really focused on kind of finding another model, and really fell into the model that we use now, which is reverse sourcing wholesale. And for us, you mentioned it earlier, it's such an adaptable model. And that's been the thing for us, is it's easily outsourced, easily automated. And that's kind of helped us grow without having to keep our hands necessarily in and working on it all the time. But the most important thing is, you said, like, we had our team, we had a team of 10 or 12 people operating a warehouse. And one day we just decided, it's like, we don't want to run a warehouse. Like, that's not very fun. We would rather operate from an office and focus on the aspects of the business that we're really good at, which is, tends to be more of the marketing side and stuff like that, and sales. So we got rid of the warehouse and are fully operational through prep centers and direct to Amazon. So all of our products go either direct to Amazon or to a third-party warehouse, and we don't actually touch them anymore. I think it's been, 15 months since we've seen a product that we sell?
Man, I think it's been longer than that.
Is it? Has it?
Yeah, I think it's been
same
longer
thing over here. I spent the good first part of 2018 going through every account that we had and figuring out, how do I not have to touch this? How do I never have to see this product again? And it took a lot of work on the front end, and now I'm just placing orders and having conversations.
Right. And that gives you the ability, because you can outsource that. And that's what we've done, is we have employees who are able to, do calls or contact brands or find products or all the things that make up this business. Every single thing you do in this business is a process. And that's what we've been able to do is isolate those processes, create standard operating procedures, and our employees are able to manage every single aspect of that. So we're not picking up the phone. We're not having to do those. And our role, like Dylan said, it is more of the hour a week kind of directional role, but it really is kind of the 30,000 foot view. We focus on the numbers. We focus on making sure our employees hit their KPIs. Like my job really is just some level of an accountability manager, right? It's just, hey, did you do a great job? Great job, guys. Keep it up and let's keep moving forward. Yeah.
Because I think that Dan and I have two strengths. And that's basically strategizing, right? We're really good at coming up. We understand the strategy, what needs to be done, how it should be done. And we're able to communicate. We just built a good team where we could communicate to that to them, and they are able to follow through. Right. And so it really plays to some of our strengths. The implementation part of it necessarily, really Dan helped to educate me he from a very early on to help to understand the value of one's own time. Because I can remember these conversations that we had a long time ago, Dan talking about how think about what is it that you're doing in your business today? What is the task that you're working on? And what is the value of that task? And if you're out packing boxes in your own warehouse or you're packing boxes for a shipment, you're doing a $9 or a $10 an hour job. And the more that you do like that,
but you're negating the 50 or $100 job $100 an hour job that you should be doing, which is managing your business.
The thing that only you can do,
right,
is where you really should be focusing your time on. So
it's a mindset shift, and it takes a lot of people a long time to start to understand that. It's like, you've heard the concepts of you got to spend money to make money, but everyone's always thinking about like, but I'd have to pay someone $9 or $10 an hour to do this simple task. It's like, no, actually what you're doing is by doing it yourself, you're spending $50, $60, $100 an hour on it, because you're wasting that valuable time that you could be doing something much more high value.
And I have seen that time and time again where someone will say, why would I pay someone to do it if I know how to do it myself? If I'm able to do it, why would I pay someone? Because they see the expense, but they don't see that sunken opportunity cost, where they could have spent their time working on something else, finding new products for that person to pack and ship. Because that's what we're ultimately doing, is finding products and sending them into Amazon, and Amazon's handling all of that customer service, payments, returns, everything. There is no earthly way that we could have sold the hundreds of thousands of products that we've sold doing it the way we did back when it was just eBay. And we had to handle every single unit, every single order.
I mean, that really is the power of the model. And I think what makes it, it makes it investable for people, really, because you don't have to take that active role in shipping orders. Like, you can come in, you can use expertise, and like, you got to look at people who have investable assets, right? Like they've earned them in some capacity by being intelligent or doing great at something, right? And whenever you get in that situation where you have those assets, like, I think this one's a great one, particularly because it is operations based. Like, as long as you can, as long as you're comfortable outsourcing. And that was the thing that we had to get comfortable with. And probably what took us, I slowed myself down by years by not getting more comfortable with it sooner. But once we got comfortable with exactly, it's hard to do, but people with experience, whenever you can, outsource quickly. Like, a good example of this is Trent. And, Trent, I don't know if you know Trent.
We've not met, but I'm familiar with his name.
Yeah, Trent Dearsman, he's one of the guys that went through TWF. And he's a, kind of a serial entrepreneur. He had started businesses. He had went through and actually sold a business in the past. So he knew he had those instincts about outsourcing, right? Like, his goal was to come in, set up the system, and get out as quickly as possible. And within 3 months, he was doing $100,000 a month from zero. And then within 6 months, he would completely removed himself from the position, and his business does over $3 million a year. And it was just that fundamental understanding of, he knew exactly he came in, he understood that, there's a system here. All I have to do is put someone in this place and make sure that they have the right KPIs in front of them or the right key performance indicators to make sure, that they're doing a great job. And whenever you do that, and that's the same thing when what we saw in our business. Like when we first hired our employees, we went from a $1.2 million per year business to a $3.6 million per year in 1 year. And it was just right. It was just, you're able to get your time back and focus again on the things that actually matter.
Because that time you'll never get back.
Right.
So spend it wisely. That's one thing I'm always, especially when we're talking finances, like all the stuff that you have around your house used to be money, and that money used to be time. Value your time. It's the only, you can't get it back.
Yep.
So let me dig into a few questions because you've already answered some of them. You started with $600. I honestly don't know what we started with because my husband sold on eBay for so many years, and then we just flipped it all over to Amazon. So we just started spending money there instead, but it wasn't a lot. I remember thinking my husband was crazy when he wanted to start selling on Amazon. I was like, what? Why? Why would you buy stuff at Walmart and put it on Amazon? That makes no sense. Why wouldn't people go to Walmart? Turns out people shop on Amazon. Do you think, so we both started in 2011. Do you think that someone could get started today with that same $600 investment?
I think it would be harder to get started with $600, honestly. And I would never advise anybody to try to really start a true business venture with, $500 or $600. I think it can be done, absolutely. But typically whenever we see people that are considering giving Amazon a shot, we generally tell them that they probably need a starting budget of $2,000 to $3,000. And I think that's, realistically, it's a lot more realistic in terms of being able to get started in a real capacity, right? Like with $600, what can you do? You can go out just like we did. We went out to Walmart's and we hustled around and we made a few bucks and kept snowballing until we got there. But if you're starting off with $3,000 or $4,000, you can kind of cut that out of the way. And I really do believe that starting with wholesale is just honestly easier at this point. It's more streamlined. Trying to teach somebody the components of going in to shop in a Walmart to make money, I think is a lot tougher than teaching somebody how to look at a product and say, all right, this is profitable or it's not profitable. So, to start with wholesale, $2,000 to $3,000 is a great budget. What we've seen is that minimum orders, and that's, what a company will require you to order from them is typically $250 to $500. So with a budget of $2,000 to $3,000, you have quite a few of those minimum orders, can work with several different companies and really get your kind of get your traction and get started moving forward.
And I feel like that's a reasonable amount. I think if someone came to me and they really only had a few $100s, my advice would be start selling books because it's low risk and that way you can build your capital up. But for us, retail arbitrage or online arbitrage was never scalable. We always had to be the ones doing it. We tried time and time again to train somebody to go out into the stores and find things. And it never worked the way we wanted. Now, there are people who have done that, but it's just not as scalable as wholesale, especially, and this is the big difference for us, and you can get the same products over and over and over again, where the retail arbitrage model, where you're going out and buying things, you never know what you're going to find. You're always searching for something new. It's just too many hours sourcing for new products when I could be spending those hours painting.
No, I mean, that's exactly. And with getting started, with that few $100 or whatever and retail arbitrage, I think retail arbitrage is harder now than it was whenever we started too.
I can tell you it is.
Yeah. So it's, again, it's not, if somebody had a few $100, I would say get out there, get your hustle on, try to make a few hundred more, and then you can really get started.
I think so.
Yeah. So just to explain our business and our model and how it works, just for anyone that's unfamiliar, what we do currently in our Amazon business now, we call it reverse sourcing wholesale. And we go to Amazon.com and we search around, just like you were searching to buy something, but we search around there for products that we would want to carry, right? We have a formula. We have pretty much a simple mathematic formula where you can look at any product on Amazon and determine about how much money we could be making if we were to start selling it, right? And then we generate a list of products that we would want to sell. And then we reach out to the brand's owner of that product, the brand owner, through email or phone call to try to set up a brand direct wholesale account with them, right? Where we'd be buying direct from the brand, which means we're getting the direct price, the best possible price you can receive for.
We're also guaranteed to not get fake inventory or anything like that. You're buying it directly from.
No sales reps, no big catalogs of all kinds of stuff to go through.
Right.
Okay.
Right. We create a relationship with the brand themselves to become an authorized Amazon seller of their products, or to become a semi-exclusive or the exclusive Amazon seller of their products, or in some cases even sign deals to manage the Amazon e-commerce sales of their products entirely through a lot of different methods. So that's the way that our business operates now. So why is that special or different from the way a lot of other people are selling? Well, it's actually very different compared to what the majority of people are doing when they talk about wholesale or they sell wholesale. What most people do is they go to a wholesaler or a distributor, a large company that carries very many products from very many brands, and they buy, and these are effectively middlemen, right? And they buy products from them at marked up prices that anyone has access to, that anyone in the world can just, as long as they can afford to buy those products, can do so. And that's the benefit to our model. We don't use those middlemen. We don't pay those jacked up prices, and we are not competing with anybody that's selling through wholesalers or distributors. We go direct to the brand, and there's more of a vetting process for them to approve you. But over the years, we've developed all of the different tactics and strategies to be able to convince them to allow us to be an authorized seller for their branded products. And it's a very symbiotic relationship where we're able to help them make more money, and obviously we earn profit from the products as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the method that we've been using, probably because we learned it from you. So we did the old method, which was attend trade shows and shake as many hands as you can, get the flu while you're at it.
Or exhausted. That's all I get is either sick or exhausted.
Feet hurt.
And then sit down after the show, after you've carried 100 pounds of catalogs, take those to your home or hotel room, and then just start going through them and find products. And about 10 minutes into that, I'm out. I'm just out. I'm done. My brain's dead. I don't care anymore. I'm ready to go get a job.
And you gotta, I think, like, it's such an outdated model too. Like, why do distributors exist? And it was because the small stores couldn't afford full orders. So what they would do is distributors would act as that middleman, and they would carry multiple manufacturers' inventory so stores could pick and choose different little, 6 of this, 8 of this, 4 of that, 2 of this. And it's, the concept of distributors is made for small companies or small brick and mortars, which, realistically, am I a small company? Yes. But I have the infrastructure of Amazon.com. Like, I have the infrastructure of Amazon, so I can manage, much larger orders. And that's where our model is much more efficient in terms of pricing. Like with distributors, I mean, you've went through this. Like, you look at a distributor catalog, and if you can make money on an item, it's it's few and far between.
It's few and far between, and you're probably going to run into an instance where a month or 2 down the road, it's no longer profitable.
Right.
It's the truth of it. Because if it's easy for you to get the account, then it's easy for anyone to get the account. And the best accounts we've had are the ones where we get on the phone, we have a personal relationship, and we've impacted their business. And now if you're just getting started, this is going to be a little more difficult, but you're going to get the experience as you sell on Amazon. And it doesn't take long to learn enough about Amazon that you know more than the brands.
Sure.
It really doesn't take long. And so we'll go through and find products that should be selling better. They're already selling well, but we can make an impact. We can fix their photos. We can fix their copy. We can fix their titles, whatever it might be. And those are the accounts that have been with us for years, cash flow our entire existence. And honestly, some of them have become pretty good friends. So
No, I mean, I can think of products that we've, I can probably think of 20 or 30 products that we've carried for 3 or 4 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the same thing over and over and over. And that's, that's the beauty of developing that relationship with the manufacturer, is that you can, your business becomes relatively boring. I mean, you buy and sell the same thing over and over and over, but it becomes predictable. It also becomes relatively competition proof. Like that's one of the things that we've noticed is where we've developed a lot of these great relationships over time. You get more exclusives, and then your business is essentially competition proof.
Mm-hmm.
On
Yeah,
those
I have a
SKUs.
feeling I could call any of your top vendors and I could give them my best sales pitch, and they would probably say, we're taken care of.
Sure. No, I mean, that's the thing is we get a lot of those top sales pitches. Like they just forward them to us nowadays.
I have a vendor who sends me emails where someone has taken the template of how to contact a wholesaler, and they're like, I get like 50 of these a week. And they're all identical. I'm like, yeah, just delete them. And most people are emailing. Do you find that just being willing to have a conversation with a human being gives you an edge?
100%. No, it's the higher the touch point in terms of contact, the more likely you are to develop some rapport, and rapport generally leads to a conversion, right? Like that means that you're likely to start wanting to work with me if the more rapport we have together. So absolutely, like it's very hard to develop rapport in email. Like some people are really clever copy people and can do it some, but it's incredibly hard to do with regularity, especially being in a sales position, I think.
Yeah.
So for us, like we still use the same strategy of we like to email first because it tells us a lot about, the company. But beyond that, the vast majority of our deals are made on the phone and talking to people.
Yeah. Email to warm them up and phone to close them. Yeah.
I have closed very few accounts using email.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And those accounts went away fairly quickly.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let me get a few more questions out here that got sent to me. Someone was asking about Amazon being crowded.
Sure.
Do you feel like it's too crowded to get started now? I mean, I know the answer to this, but.
Right. So I have a great answer for this. And that is, anyone can do this research. If you just go to Google and you type in Amazon revenue growth, and you just look at the chart for the last, 10 years or whatever you want to look at for Amazon's revenue growth, and then their projected revenue growth, right? So if I've got this right, I think in 2016, Amazon did $106 billion in sales.
That's 90s.
Or low 90s or high 90s, or
97 billion or something like that.
And so like that was in 2016. In 2020, their numbers are about to come out, but I know I know a little bit about this ahead of time. Amazon's going to reveal here in a couple days that their revenue for 2019 was about $285 billion in sales. So just think, since 2016 to now, they've almost tripled. So in most projections for them have them doubling again before 2024. So within the next 3 or 4 years, that they'll double in size again and have an annual revenue that's closer to $500 billion, which is a ridiculous number to say out loud.
Yeah.
And annual revenue, $500 billion. So Amazon continues to grow and like leaps and bounds. And what's crazy is that of all retail commerce, only like 13% happens online still. So there's a huge amount of growth throughout our lifetimes, where that like every year that's going to continue, that's going to go to 15, 18, 20 to eventually like online retail will probably encompass close to 50% of all retail. We're still a long way from that. So it's constant growth, and Amazon's ahead of all of it. So here's the thing. Amazon grows so fast, unbelievably fast, 20 to 30% every single year, that competition in terms of people selling on the platform can't keep up with that growth. And so that's what we've seen and experienced ourselves. Our business, but just by being on Amazon over the years, our business has grown relatively with their growth. They get more sales, we get more sales. That's how it works. And it's a statistic from FeedVisor, a very popular company. They did a survey recently. Their survey determined that 1 in 5 Amazon sellers does at least $1 million in sales per year. It's crazy. It's absolutely absurd to think about that, right? And it's something like over 50% of people do at least $250,000 in sales that are active Amazon sellers.
I mean, let's take a second and think about that statistic right there. So to be an Amazon seller, what qualifications do you have? Do you have to have? None.
What do I have to have?
You have to be alive, relatively speaking.
Connection.
An internet connection.
And a bank
exactly.
account.
Now, realistically, whenever you start talking about, what's a realistic number, conservatively, what's a realistic number for an Amazon business to do? 10%, 10 to 15%, I think, are real numbers. That's not like
margin. Yeah.
That's not embellished or high. So if you think that 1
10
in
to
5
15%
sellers,
margin is profit margin is reasonable. Yeah.
Yep. So if you think that 1 in 5 sellers is doing $1 million, that means 1 in 5 sellers is making about $100,000 to $150,000 a year. Name a job, name a industry where 1 in 5 people without qualification or prior training can earn $100,000 to $150,000 a year. Like, it just doesn't happen.
No,
Like,
YouTube celebrity. That might be.
but you're such a,
it's probably not going to happen for you.
Right.
Yeah.
So whenever you start thinking about it from that, in that regard, it's astronomical as to how big the opportunity really is.
Yeah. And it grows every year. That's the thing too.
And I can echo all of that. I mean, that's been our experience from 2011 until there was almost this mental ceiling, that the $1 million mark, that there was like a mental barrier. But once we broke it,
it's just smooth sailing. Right.
It's part of the norm now. And there aren't, I've never seen an opportunity like this anywhere else in any other industry. Like you said, there are no qualifications. It doesn't matter what your race is or your gender or your sexual orientation. Nobody cares.
Your educational background. You can be a grade school dropout.
Kids. Yeah, there are high school kids making thousands of dollars a year.
We've taught some of them.
Right. But yeah, sorry, it's just an incredible opportunity. And sometimes I forget it in that day-to-day work.
Sure,
but, yeah, I mean, Walmart came along and tried to kill all the mom and pop shops in all of the towns like yours and mine. And Amazon came along and gave that opportunity back.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the part that I think people don't really think about too. Amazon does get demonized a lot in the media and for some of their ethics, and a lot of that's fair. But one thing that you do bring up is certainly true, is you did see big retailers like Walmart really start punishing small business owners. Mm-hmm. But with Amazon, the majority of the products sold on Amazon are sold by small business owners like us, like you, right? And so like it brought that back. It brought the ability to be successful as a small business owner back. And so that's a really cool part about it all for sure.
But back to your question of, is it too crowded? I think it's starting to get crowded for that transactional seller, like your retail arbitrage seller. Like, yeah, it's starting to.
Right.
Is it starting to get for the people who source from distributors and wholesalers? Like, yeah, it does. There's more people selling every day. They still sell, relatively. Like it's, so it does. But for us, and what we try to build our business on, what we try to teach people to build their business on is providing value. And, as a financial consultant too, like you got to think of it from that capacity, right? As long as your business is built on the principle of I provide value, there's always an opportunity for you to make money. And that's where our opportunity has continued to grow because, as Dylan said, like, Amazon has exploded, which has caused a need, almost like a necessity for smart Amazon people. Like brands don't want to get left behind. If you look at Amazon right now, and you see all these private label brands that are starting to catch up to more established brands on the platform. Why does that happen? It's not because they're a better product. It's they have a better driver, right? In their car. So that's what that's the role that we can fulfill as Amazon sellers to these brands, right? Is it's created a necessity for people to help brands actually be able to succeed along with the private label products.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of the private label sellers, all the people who are trying to do the copycat method, the ones who say, well, that worked for them, so I'm going to do it exactly that way, and it will work for me. The people who are emailing the templates without changing any of the wording to make it personal. The private label sellers who go to Alibaba and just buy a product.
Yep.
It is definite. I mean, and I think that's just the way commerce and capitalism work. If you're copying somebody else, you're going to effectively have to compete on price, and you're going to lose.
Right.
If you compete on value, you can win every single day. But you've got to figure out what that value is and really bring it to the table.
Yeah, I love talking about value and discussions about value to help people, just for business in general, for people, so they can fully comprehend how you can be successful in business and be successful in life because of that. When you are evaluating business opportunities, that's really to know if it's legit or not, to know if it has long-term sustainable success. That's really the only question that you have to ask is this providing value to someone else other than me if I do it? And that's and our business does. What we teach people to do, what we do as a business, is solve problems for brands, for existing brand products. They have problems like, we work with brands that are 50 and 100 years old. They've been around since way before the internet, and they have these different various problems that lead them to not having the success on Amazon like they should, because their company, their business didn't necessarily get with the 21st century and the evolution of e-commerce.
Right.
And we're that solutions provider for them. We know what's missing. We know that we understand the Amazon platform and can help them. So we are able to help brands and provide them value. And when you're doing that, if whatever you're in the business of provides true value for someone, well, that's how money is transacted. That's how money is exchanged. How do you make money in this world that we live in? How do you provide value and someone pays you for it, right? Yeah. So that's how, if you're cheating that system, if you're earning money without providing value, then that's going to be something that doesn't last very long.
Exactly.
It's a very temporary thing.
Yeah. And we've seen those flash in the pan people who come along, and it's the get rich quick scheme.
Right. Yeah. This is the get rich slow scheme. This is
a get rich slow scheme. And you get to define what rich means for you. But yeah, there's a lot of people who are trying. If what you want is to get rich quick, you should turn this video off.
Yeah. Because scratch lottery tickets.
Because I don't know how. I don't know how to do it quick.
I do scratch lottery tickets. I mean, you win, you lose, or you draw, and
Right. It's quick. Go to Vegas.
Right. I can tell you how to do it over years.
That's the only thing I can teach people, is how to do it over years.
Right.
But that's what real business is. And you don't teach your students to run fly-by-night businesses, and neither do I. So we're not here to do that. Let me see if there were any other questions, because we have covered so many things. Would you say it's better to focus on for the person getting started, this might be a bit overwhelming. Should they focus on a niche? Should they just try to find products? What do you think?
Initially, I like to start out with a niche-based focus. And the logic I like to use is that it's, what is the hardest part of sales in general? And it's talking to somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's, whenever the first time you call somebody, you feel a little bit uncomfortable. And it's just, right, your heart beats, you get the butterflies, you get all those, it's actually
all the things that happen before I hit go on a webinar.
Exactly. I actually love it. It kind of gives me that exhilarating feeling. I still get nervous every time I do it.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever you're focused on a niche or a specific set of products, and I like starting with something I know and or like, and it just makes the conversation easier, right? Like if you get nervous, you can just start talking about let's say you're in you're in the art space and you're mm-hmm. talking to them about an art company, and you get nervous, you can just start talking to them about their products. And it's
mm-hmm.
something and care about. It doesn't mean you have to have you don't have to have a college degree in art. You don't have to have an art gallery. You don't have to be an art expert. It's just something you care about. And you can talk to somebody about.
Right. And you understand the perspective of the customer, and you can relate that back to the company and help them really to understand what's missing from their products or from their listings on Amazon and stuff like that. Like a great example for this specifically is Amy Sherlock. She's a student of ours. She had a lot, so she had never sold anything online before, and she was starting with very little money. So it had to work, right? It had to work for her. But she had a lot of experience. She came from a holistic natural fertility background. She had a lot of education in natural fertility products. And then, so that's all that she sourced. That's all that she looked at. She just looked at natural fertility products and called those companies because she had a lot of knowledge about that. And she picked up several wholesale accounts. And that, I'm pretty sure to this day, it's almost exclusively the only things that she sells. What did she tell you that her revenue was recently?
It's well over 100,000 a month now.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And it's all like all her where she did stay niche based and focused. Like all of her accounts, she's developed great relationships with. She's exclusive with almost all of them.
She's gotten referrals, lots of referrals from doing great work. And so she was someone who was able to parlay her interest and knowledge in one thing into creating a very successful business as a retailer.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So think about the hobbies that you do. Think about past businesses that you've worked for, past jobs. It could be even things you like. If you played a sport in high school and you can, or maybe you really love sports, you could speak articulately about these things. Just something to get started.
Yeah, that's another
hair
one.
products. I love hair products.
Yeah, you said
love
sports.
Hair products. Your hair is so luxurious every time I see you.
My main.
Right, yeah. Like that's one that comes to my mind. One of our students, he's a baseball coach, and his very first very successful product that was generating like $20,000 or $30,000 in sales per month for him, it was a bucket of baseballs.
That's pretty cool.
It was a bucket of baseballs. Yep.
Nice.
So
nice.
I mean,
I think I agree. If I'm telling someone how to get started, I think finding that specific set of products that you know something about will give you that confidence boost to even, I just honestly get started. That's the biggest hurdles for most people is just to do the one product one time.
Right. And you build that confidence and you build that success. And that's when you get to the point that we eventually got to where Dan literally could land hair product companies because he was he understood, he knew what he wanted to talk about. He felt good about it. He knew what they wanted to hear. He could do the research. He doesn't need to have hair to have the conversation. Just eventually you develop where you can pitch anybody or anything, and it's very natural.
And most of our pitches now are finding that product that needs improvement and opening the door by saying, hey, have you ever thought about making this change? You're missing these 3 key words. Yep. That usually opens the door enough that they go, what do you mean? Tell me more about that. And I love that you were talking about how Amy Sherlock got referrals, because that started happening for us recently as well. And we're currently working on a launch strategy with, I guess, a top global 50 company, which is really intimidating because I don't know, sometimes I just think I'm that little girl in Ohio that, what do I know? But it turns out when I talk to their e-commerce people, I know more about Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
They know more about Google, and I know more about Amazon, and that's what's making it a great partnership.
Yep.
Well, I think I've wrapped up all the questions because we talked about how much you can make with this business. It's up to you. Someone had asked me if you can sell used items. And so again, if you're just starting out and you really need to build cash up, books and toys are a great place to start for things like that. Not so much with the wholesale, and it's not a scalable model. No, I think we've covered all my I almost said products because I was reading that word. All my questions. What else? What have we not covered that you think someone coming in who's like, okay, I really want to know more about this whole Amazon thing. What could you tell them? What have they not asked you?
Well, so it kind of ties back a little bit to what we talked about earlier. But I do feel like right now we are living in, this is our generation. I think we're all 3 millennials here. We're all like,
I'm a zennial. I got reclassified.
Well, okay. Well, well, we're all
Then
around.
got divided up, so now I'm a Zennial.
Okay, all right, yeah. So we're in this generation, our generation. I'm going to call it our generation. This is our generation's like biggest business building opportunity. I fully believe that. Part of the reason I believe that obviously is because it happened to me, of course. But I come from the middle of nowhere, Eastern Kentucky. Dan does too. We didn't grow up. We both grew up poor, and I didn't even go to college. I went to community college.
You should see this guy's transcript in high school. He actually showed it to me, and I'm shocked he's my business partner.
It's bad. It's really bad.
If I showed you my husband's transcript, I'm surprised he's my business partner.
So I believe that about Mike, though.
Because we're from Ohio. That makes sense.
Right, yeah. And we were able to do this, right? We were able to take advantage and have a lot of success. And things like this just don't come around very often. You can look at every generation has had something kind of like this with a previous generation. It was real estate. They were able to buy real estate super cheap. And you look how it kind of
2000s real estate, 90s.coms.
Right. And like, this is ours. This is what our huge opportunity is that you can invest in and that you can create a business for. And we've already talked about what the future entails. We know everyone agrees that more and more people are going to buy things online, right? Well, somebody has to sell those things, and it can be you. Mm-hmm. And 10 years from now, so many people are going to look back at all the people that have earned so much money from selling on Amazon and think, damn, I wish I had done that. I wish I had done that, when Amazon is $1 trillion company one day, right?
Right.
They'll regret it. The same, you hear people all the time. It's a really lame joke at Thanksgiving dinner that your goofy uncle always says, "Oh, if I had invested in Microsoft."
Mm-hmm. Back in the day, I'd be a millionaire now. And you're like, yeah, Jim, but you didn't.
But that's what this is. That's what this is. Selling on Amazon is that same kind of thing. It's the whole investing in Microsoft in 1991 kind of thing. You know what I mean? That's what you have the opportunity to do now. So you're not the lame uncle making the jokes at Thanksgiving dinner. Hopefully
you're hosting for your friends and all your loved ones because you've done so well.
Right, exactly.
It really is an incredible opportunity that sometimes I still pinch myself, like, I can't believe that I get to do this, that this is going to end, right? Like, they're not going to let us just keep making money this way, but they are. I mean, we're providing value. We're bringing products to people who need them, who want them delivered. Yeah, and just to be clear, so people understand, if they ever think about that, like, whoa, will this opportunity go away? Will it end? Let me just be clear. How does Amazon make money? Amazon makes the majority of their money when I sell the products or when you sell the products, not when they sell the products themselves. That's how they make money. They charge a 15% referral fee for everything that's sold on the platform, so that they make money by you selling products.
Make way more than if they sell it.
That's their business models. They make money.
They don't have to own the product.
Right. They make money when you sell it. So that's why they care so much about having you sell the products and empowering you to sell the product. It's a brilliant business model. And obviously it's helped contribute to them becoming one of the most valuable companies in the history of mankind. So,
I mean, it's never going, the model of Amazon letting people sell stuff on their platform is never going away. But what might go away is the ability for everybody to sign up at will. Like, at some point when Amazon reaches their critical mass, they don't know, and they no longer need sellers. It becomes a competition of who can get in then, right? And that's I feel like whenever we get there, that's the point where people will start saying, oh, wow, I just missed that Amazon thing. I just missed it.
Yeah.
Because you can't get in anymore. Yeah. Exactly. And, right now that the case is they let everybody in. Everybody can still get started. Everybody can crush it and make a business. But at some point in the future, I don't think that'll be possible. And that's why whenever I talk to people, I always tell them, if you are interested in selling on Amazon, get started. Get started. Get started while it's possible.
Get started. Who cares if you hit $1 million in your first year? Just get started.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have had the long trajectory, it took them a long time to get to where they built it up into a full-time income, but that's completely fine and reasonable.
Yeah, who cares? You're not competing against someone else. You're living your own life. And I've met many, many people conference after conference who they're gonna get started this year, and it's been 5 years.
Yeah.
And they're still just on eBay. So yeah, I think I can't think of a better opportunity. We still sell antiques on eBay. We don't do Walmart. We don't do Jet. We killed our own website. All of our focus is on Amazon.
Yep.
That's
we did the same thing.
Yeah.
Reach customers. So,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I've had you guys here now for about an hour. Thank you. Thank you for hanging out with me. And honestly, it was just great to catch up with you because I had no idea what all was going on with you guys anymore.
Yeah. And right now we've got our free wholesale formula workshop going on, which I'll let you share the link with everybody.
Yeah.
And you can do that. Maybe it might be popping up on the screen, or it might be below this video, wherever you're watching it.
You do the up, down.
Yeah.
Look that way.
Our free wholesale formula workshop, it's something that we do once a year, where we teach people. We only do it once a year, where we teach people exactly how to do the same business model that we do, reverse sourcing wholesale, that we talked about earlier. And in that workshop, you're going to learn how to find products, how to evaluate products, and how you can get started selling on Amazon right now. And so here's the cool thing about that. Once upon a time, several years ago, Brittany went through that workshop, and that's how she learned how to do the same level of Amazon product sourcing that she does now. And as you've heard from it, she's done over $8 million in sales on Amazon. I'm not trying to take credit for all that success because you did all the hard work, right? But it just goes to show you, like, this is obviously very real. We've been doing it for very many years, teaching people how to do this, doing it ourselves. And we're still here, and we're still creating success stories every day. Speaking of that, you went through what, at least there were 20, we received 20, we had a little contest, people sharing success stories. We had 20 great new ones. Video testimonials. Yep, video testimonials yesterday that came in, just amazing stories. One of them, Andy, his name's Andy Leon. He lives in Colombia, so he leveraged the success of his business because you can work from anywhere. So he moved to Colombia to learn how to salsa dance because that was a dream of his. It's not a dream of mine, but it's a dream of his, so it doesn't matter.
Can you salsa dance?
I would salsa dance. That sounds fun.
Can't do any kind of dance. Just all these brilliant, amazing stories of what people are able to do for themselves, but it just requires you to take action and get started. And there's no time like the present. I'm telling you, if I can do it, if we can do it, you can do it. And that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this workshop is literally, it is anybody's chance to see if this business model might be something for them.
Right.
And, could it be that thing that changes your life? Yeah, it might be. And it's absolutely free. Like, the only thing that it costs somebody is their time. And I promise you, we will deliver we will deliver the value to make it well worth your time. So, I would just say, show up, see if it's something that you want to do and can leverage and change your life.
And you guys only do these workshops once a year.
Yeah.
You used to do them twice a year, and I know that you spend a lot of time and effort to update them and make sure that you're still providing that same level of value. So now's the time to at least watch the go through the workshop to see if this is right for you, because you're not going to be able to do it in the end of February or March when you decide maybe now is the right time. There isn't a right time. Someday isn't coming. So you have to get started. Is my screen sharing, by the way?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Because it's just showing me my face, so I can't tell.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. So all of my Amazon resources, because even though I do financial counseling and consulting, people still ask the most about Amazon. So I just created a 1-page resource that has everything that I think is great. And I'm going to link to your workshop right at the top because I think you guys need to check it out.
Yeah.
It's too important.
Yeah. And I receive a lot of questions from people, whether it's in my personal life, friends, people that I went to high school with, for instance, or people that I grew up with, or other clients of ours that sometimes seek out financial advice or personal investment advice and things like that. Or a common question that people have with me is like, well, how do you get out of debt, or what are ways to try to climb out of debt? And I always have the same answer. And it's, well, you should just make more money. The fastest and easiest way to get out of debt is to just make more money.
Yeah, you need a bigger shovel helps dig yourself out of that hole.
Right. And that's what I used to have a ton of debt. I was over $40,000 in debt at one point, in my early 20s. That was brutal. And how I solved it was just by making more money. And I couldn't do that at the job that I worked at because the only way that I could make more money there is if someone retired or died and I could apply for their position. And hopefully my politics in the office were good enough to where they would give it to me.
It tells me your politics weren't very good.
So, right. And they weren't. I wasn't enough of a kiss ass. That's for sure. So that wasn't the life I wanted to live. So I wanted to do something where my effort was directly rewarded. And that's what this has been for me and for Dan as well. So
this has been, it saved me. I was working in cubicle land for a company that would only promote you if you were willing to move. Where I'm like, that's dumb.
Oof.
You're losing a lot of good people in your management pool because I don't want to leave the state.
Yeah.
And actually one of my last memories of that place was an anniversary party where the woman was retiring after, it was 35 or 40 years. And I could feel the walls. You know, when you're in that break room, like where the walls are fabric and they can actually move the walls because it's not a real room.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got the sheet cake that's not very good and the walls are closing in on me. And I was just like, I have to find something else.
Yeah,
and lucky for me, it was Amazon at that time.
Yeah.
But no, you can't keep trading time for money. You're going to have to get more efficient and you're going to have to take ownership of that time to make more money. And if you want to get out of debt and you want to have the life you want, this might be the opportunity for you. So go to BrittanyRoss.com/Amazon for all of the resources, including this workshop. And I linked to your blog as well because you guys have some really great resources there too. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was a pleasure. I'm glad we got to catch up.
Yeah. Thanks for having us on, Brittany.
Absolutely. Where can people reach out to you if they have questions?
They can email Dan at dan@thewholesaleformula.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much. You guys have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Bye.